Stefon Diggs has broken his silence, posting a calm one-day-at-a-time message, just hours after the 2026 NFL Draft ended with 0 offers. Since the Patriots released him to cut over $20 million, his market has collapsed despite a 1,000-yard season. Between his $22 million demands and an ongoing legal issue, teams have kept their distance, and he's furious. But here's the part you can't miss: that ticking clock emoji in his bio isn't random. It hints at a deadline he's set, before dropping a private recording that could expose the Patriots front office. Let's start with the numbers, because this is where the story gets interesting. Last season, Diggs tallied 85 catches for 1,013 yards and 4 touchdowns, courtesy of MVP candidate Drake May, helping the Patriots to a successful season that culminated in a Super Bowl appearance. That is not a stat line of a washed-up veteran clinging to a roster spot. That is the production of a legitimate #1 receiver. He became the first Patriots wide receiver since Julian Edelman in 2019 to surpass 1,000 receiving yards in a single season, making his first Super Bowl appearance in the process. The Patriots, a franchise that had wandered through the post-Tom Brady wilderness for years, suddenly made a run all the way to Super Bowl LX. Diggs was the centerpiece of that offense. On the field, though, Diggs is still playing at an extremely high level. He finished 4th in the NFL in PFSN's WR impact metric, and coming off a torn ACL in 2024, still ended the 2025 season with over 1,000 receiving yards. Texans wide receiver Stefon Diggs had a torn ACL and missed the rest of the 2024 season. As coach DeMeco Ryans announced, Diggs suffered a non-contact injury to his knee on October 27th during Week 8 against the Colts, and would miss the rest of the season due to what was subsequently determined to be an ACL tear. He caught 47 passes for 496 yards and 3 touchdowns at the end of the 2024 season. Most receivers at 31 years old don't come back from an ACL and post a 1,000-yard season. Diggs did. Diggs spent last offseason recovering from an ACL tear. He was ready for action in Week 1 and played in all 17 of New England's regular season games. He didn't miss a single regular season game. He didn't ease into it. He stepped on the field and was the guy from the very first snap. With the New England Patriots, Diggs turned in an 87.5 overall PFF grade, placing him 6th among 81 qualifying wide receivers. His 87.5 receiving grade ranked 7th in that same group. He finished with 85 catches on 100 targets for 1,013 yards and 4 touchdowns, averaging 11.9 yards per reception. He added 363 yards after the catch, was credited with 2 drops, and had an average depth of target of 8.7 yards. 2 drops on 100 targets. That's the kind of consistency teams beg for. And it wasn't just regular season production. New England Patriots wide receiver Stefon Diggs sat down with NFL Network's Kurt Warner and shared his emotions entering Super Bowl LX. He did not miss any games in the postseason either, but his production took a dip. He had 14 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown in 4 postseason games in 2025. The postseason numbers weren't quite as explosive, but Diggs was still out there, still competing, still contributing on every drive, including in what turned out to be a difficult Super Bowl matchup against Seattle. The partnership worked well for both parties as they went to Super Bowl 60. However, the Patriots didn't have an answer against the Seattle Seahawks defense. The Patriots lost 29-13, but Diggs was on the field fighting. So here's a player who, by every measurable on-field metric, produced at a top-tier level last season, helped a franchise reach the Super Bowl, and came back from an injury that would have ended most careers. And right now, in late April 2026, he is sitting at home with no team, no contract, and no public offer on the table. Something else is going on. To understand why Stefon Diggs doesn't have a team right now, you have to step away from the stat sheet and look at everything that happened around him. New England Patriots wide receiver Stefon Diggs on Friday pleaded not guilty to felony strangulation and other criminal charges, stemming from an alleged dispute with his personal chef. Diggs is charged with 1 count of felony strangulation or suffocation and 1 count of misdemeanor assault and battery. The charges stem from an incident on December 2nd, 2025, right in the middle of what had been a spectacular regular season. According to court records, the chef told Dedham officers she and Diggs argued about money he owed her for her work. During the Deck 2 encounter at his home, she said, he smacked her across the face, and then tried to choke her using the crook of his elbow around her neck, leaving her feeling short of breath. Diggs' attorney has said he categorically denies these allegations, calling them unsubstantiated and motivated by a financial dispute. The legal case is ongoing. The arraignment at Massachusetts' Dedham District Court was postponed until after Super Bowl LX, so Diggs could play in the NFL championship game. That decision raised eyebrows at the time. A felony arraignment delayed so a player could participate in a football game. But it happened. Diggs' arraignment was originally slated for Jan 23, but was moved to Feb 13, 5 days after the Patriots' 29-13 loss to the Seattle Seahawks. He showed up to court, pleaded not guilty, and the case continued to wind through the legal system. But that was only one legal entanglement swirling around Diggs. Stefon sued Christopher for defamation in November, after Christopher claimed Stefon drugged, sexually assaulted, and later conspired to kill him. Stefon's suit alleges Christopher intentionally and knowingly lied for online clout, and in the process, seriously hurt Stefon's reputation. That defamation case has turned into a full-blown legal war. The social media star alleging Stefon Diggs sexually assaulted him, who Diggs then sued for defamation, wants the judge in their legal beef to force the NFL star to turn over financial information, claiming Diggs has been stonewalling him. Christopher claims Stefon has failed to hand over information related to his finances, security footage, and various other items that he claims he's entitled to get in connection with the case. Specifically, Christopher asked that Stefon turn over information and materials concerning security systems, surveillance footage, and access logs for the athlete's home in Maryland between May 20, 2023 to May 22, 2023. These are the headlines that NFL front offices see when they search Stefon Diggs' name. Multiple legal proceedings, unresolved criminal charges, and a civil lawsuit that generates new filings and new tabloid coverage every few weeks. For a league obsessed with risk mitigation, this is precisely the kind of situation general managers tried to avoid, no matter how good a player is on Sundays. And then there was the personal life drama. The New England Patriots wide receiver deleted every post from his Instagram account, amid uncertainty about his future, as well as a very public breakup with rapper Cardi B. This happened in early March 2026, right before the Patriots made their decision on him. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs welcomed their son in November 2025. They went from welcoming a child together to celebrating an AFC Championship victory side by side, to a very public breakup in the span of just a few months. Stefon Diggs' 2026 was already off to a bad start after he lost the Super Bowl. Cardi B broke up with him, and he is currently battling an assault case. All of this created a whirlwind around Diggs that made teams hesitant. It's not about the football. It's never been about the football. The Patriots didn't just stumble into releasing Diggs. The decision was calculated, deliberate, and driven by cold, hard numbers, as much as anything else. When wide receiver Stefon Diggs signed with the team last March, it was on a 3-year, $69 million deal. But the structure of the contract made the start of the 2026 season a key checkpoint for the Patriots to be able to make it a 1-year deal. The Patriots, according to a league source, informed Diggs on Wednesday that they intend to release him next week. Diggs' base salary was rising from $2.9 million in 2025 to $20.6 million in 2026, and his salary cap charge was increasing from $10.5 million to $26.5 million. $26.5 million against the cap. For context, the former 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver was slated to count $26.5 million against the salary cap in 2026, which is the second highest on the team behind star defensive tackle Milton Williams. The Patriots were paying Diggs a bargain in 2025, only $2.9 million in base salary, because the contract was designed to balloon the following year. New England got their Super Bowl run at a discount. Now the bill was due, and they weren't willing to pay it. The Patriots tried various options to keep Diggs on the roster, including a last-ditch contract restructuring, but the player rejected it. The Patriots didn't simply discard Diggs. They tried to find a way to make it work at a lower number. Diggs said no, and why would he say yes? He just put up over 1,000 yards. He helped take the franchise to the Super Bowl. From his perspective, he had earned his payday, and accepting a reduced deal would have felt like a demotion for elite-level production. After the news broke, Stefon took to his Instagram to share a brief statement. "Thank you for a hell of a year. We family forever Patriots," he shared. Throughout the one season, Stefon played with the Patriots, where they ended up in the Super Bowl last month. Stefon was the leading receiver with 85 receptions for 1,013 yards and 4 touchdowns. It was graceful. It was brief. But underneath the polished farewell, Diggs was walking into a free agent market that wasn't exactly waiting for him with open arms. New England wants to focus on internal development. Head coach Mike Vrabel said he's excited to see the development of 2025 third-round pick Kyle Williams, who delivered some highlight reel plays as a rookie, but finished with just 10 receptions for 209 yards and 3 touchdowns. While playing 30% of the offensive snaps, undrafted rookie Efton Chisholm III also showed some promise in the slot, which was where Diggs projected to play more in 2026. New England was already looking ahead. They were betting on youth and cost-controlled contracts. Diggs wasn't part of the future anymore. The Patriots cut ties with Diggs for a variety of factors, partly because of his high cap hit. $26.5 million he was set to have next season. He had signed a 3-year contract ahead of last season and was under contract through the 2027 season. When you factor in the off-field issues, the cap number, and the team's philosophical shift toward developing young players, the decision made sense from New England's perspective. But it left Diggs in a deeply uncomfortable position, a proven productive receiver who was technically unwanted. Here is where the situation becomes truly striking. Diggs hit free agency in March. The expectation was that some team, somewhere, would snap him up quickly. Former New England Patriots receiver Stefon Diggs is still among the NFL free agent wide receivers without a team this offseason. But it's not expected that that will last all that long. That was the sentiment back in March. It's now late April. The 2026 NFL Draft has come and gone, and Diggs is still unsigned. The 2026 NFL Draft is here, which means free agency has completely ground to a halt. All 32 teams are focused on the 3-day event in Pittsburgh and finding cost-controlled ways to improve their roster. For the free agents who are left on the market, that means they are in a holding pattern until after the 2026 NFL Draft wraps up. At that point, the teams who failed to address their needs with draft picks will begin to circle the free agent pool again and see if there are any veteran contributors who make sense to sign. And Diggs isn't alone. The list of unsigned free agents reads like a Pro Bowl roster from 3 or 4 years ago. Among the NFL free agents still available are W.R. Deebo Samuel, W.R. Tyreek Hill, W.R. Stefon Diggs, W.R. Keenan Allen, L.B. Bobby Wagner, D.E. Joey Bosa, and D.E. Von Miller, among many others. These are names that used to command massive contracts, headlines, and franchise-altering trade packages. Now they're all sitting by the phone. But here's what makes Diggs' situation stand out from the rest. Over 11 NFL seasons with 4 different teams, Diggs has been as consistent as they come. He's totaled 942 receptions, 11,504 receiving yards, and 75 touchdown receptions. Along with his 4 Pro Bowl selections, the veteran wideout has also earned All-Pro honors twice and has reached the 1,000-yard receiving mark 7 separate times. 7 separate 1,000-yard seasons. That kind of consistency places you in rare historical company. This is not a player whose production fell off a cliff. He just did it last year. He did it coming off a torn ACL. He did it on a team that went to the Super Bowl. And yet nobody has signed him. The draft made things worse, not better. Several teams that were considered potential landing spots for Diggs used their picks to address the receiver position. With younger, cheaper options, the Rams surprised everyone several days ago at the NFL Draft when they chose Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson at number 13 overall. Rather than adding a wide receiver, the Rams didn't draft a receiver, but they also didn't rush to sign Diggs. The 2026 NFL Draft has come and gone, and the Minnesota Vikings chose not to select a wideout that could fill the WR3 role that's vacant after the departure of Jalen Nailor in free agency this offseason. That's a door that remains open. As a result, if the Vikings want to have a reliable wideout behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, they'll likely head into the veteran free agent market. But will they want Diggs? That's the question no one has answered yet. Where could Diggs land? Now that the draft is over, the free agent market is expected to pick up again, and multiple analysts have pointed to specific teams where Diggs makes sense on paper. The question is whether those teams can stomach the baggage that comes with signing him. With the Vikings having a little more money to spend, Bleacher Report's Joseph Zucker believes that the Vikings should be one of the teams looking to land a veteran free agent receiver. Would one of Diggs' old teams consider a reunion? The Minnesota reunion angle is fascinating. The most memorable moment of Diggs' Vikings tenure and NFL career came in the 2017 divisional round, when he took a pass from Case Keenum all the way into the end zone with zeros on the clock and sent Minnesota to the NFC Championship game. The Minneapolis Miracle, one of the greatest plays in NFL postseason history. Diggs caught that ball, scored that touchdown, and wrote himself into the permanent fabric of that franchise. Diggs became a full-time starter for the Vikings midway through his rookie year, despite his late-round draft status. He became part of an effective receiving tandem alongside Adam Thielen, with his highlights including catching the Minneapolis Miracle pass during the 2017-18 NFL playoffs. The following offseason, Diggs received a 5-year extension, playing 2 more seasons in Minnesota before being traded to the Buffalo Bills in 2020. Now he could potentially come back. Kevin O'Connell wasn't the coach in Minnesota when Diggs departed to the Buffalo Bills via a 2020 trade request, and he needs to get Minnesota back to the playoffs in 2026 after a disastrous 2025 with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. Providing Kyler Murray with 3 high-caliber wideouts would certainly be helpful toward that cause. Moreover, with the trade of Jonathan Greenard, Minnesota has roughly $16 million in cap space. They have the money. They have the need. They have the nostalgia. But do they want the complications? Then there are the Kansas City Chiefs. Bleacher Report's Doric Sam spotlighted the 3 teams that could add Diggs to their receiving core, including the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City has been in the market for a reliable veteran receiver, and pairing Diggs with Patrick Mahomes would be the type of late-career move that could reinvigorate both parties. The Baltimore Ravens could be the team that secures Diggs for their roster. Unlike the other 2 teams, the Ravens made a significant change by firing John Harbaugh as head coach. They hired former Los Angeles Rams defensive coordinator Jesse Minter as their new coach to try to guide this team to postseason success. Signing Diggs would give Lamar Jackson yet another option to pass to, as he already has weapons that include Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman. The Buffalo Bills even entered the conversation. Buffalo just saw what Diggs could do for the Patriots, and he could help this team unlock its potential as well. The big question is whether the Bills would bring him back. But to go after a title, anything is possible. That would be one of the most dramatic homecomings in recent NFL history. A player traded away by a franchise, then coming back after a year to potentially help them compete. The Green Bay Packers are looking to go after a Super Bowl in 2026 after a disappointing finish last year. The team could bring Diggs into the mix, giving quarterback Jordan Love more firepower on the field. Green Bay could use another wideout, especially for crucial 3rd and 4th down spots during the season. Diggs could be very useful for this team, and he would offer Love a reliable weapon for the year. And the Indianapolis Colts. After the Indianapolis Colts traded away Michael Pittman Jr., many expected them to add more talent to the wide receiver room. But to this point, the team hasn't fully replaced the former star, and this is where Diggs could come into the picture. The destinations are there. The fits are obvious, but the market has not moved. And every day that passes without a signing sends a message that's hard to ignore. General managers are watching the legal situations play out. They're weighing the headlines against the highlight tapes. And for now, the headlines are winning. Kennedy named the Tennessee Titans, Washington Commanders, and San Francisco 49ers as potential destinations, while projecting Diggs to receive a 3-year contract worth $14.5 million. $14.5 million over 3 years. For a player who just posted 1,000 yards. That's a fraction of the $69 million deal he signed a year ago. The market has spoken, even if quietly, and what it's saying is that Diggs' value has cratered. Not because of what he does on the field, but because of everything happening around it. With the Vikings needing to fill their WR3 role, Diggs' name has come up as a potential target that Minnesota could pursue in the veteran free agent market. For CBS Sports' Garrett Podell, Minnesota will go after Diggs to fill the wideout role behind Jefferson and Addison should the veteran wide receiver resolve his legal troubles. There's the key phrase. Should the veteran wide receiver resolve his legal troubles? Everything hinges on that. Every potential signing, every reunion storyline, every team that could use a proven receiver, all of it comes with the same asterisk. He's no longer rostered on the New England Patriots, but wide receiver Stefon Diggs' legal battles in Massachusetts remain ongoing. Court documents show that Diggs can now skip his next court hearing in a case pertaining to allegations that he assaulted his personal live-in chef back in December. Judge Sarah Jubenville of Dedham District Court granted a request from the NFL star to waive his presence in court on April 1st. He's been granted some logistical relief, but the charges are still there. The civil lawsuit is still there, and until those situations are resolved or at least move significantly toward resolution, teams will keep watching from a distance. The verdict: so is Stefon Diggs being ignored? In a purely football sense, yes, and it makes no rational sense. At 32, Diggs isn't the player he once was with the Buffalo Bills or Minnesota Vikings, but he's still a player who produced at an elite level just months ago. As he enters his 12th season in 2026, Diggs still presents a strong receiving option for any NFL franchise. The journey to this point has been one of the more turbulent arcs in recent NFL memory. Stefon Diggs' journey through the NFL has been marked by remarkable talent, resilience, and a consistent ability to perform at an elite level. From his humble beginnings as a fifth-round draft pick to becoming a multiple Pro Bowl selection and a first-team All-Pro wide receiver, Diggs has defied expectations and carved out a distinguished career. He went from a fifth-round pick in 2015 to catching the Minneapolis Miracle. He went from being traded out of Minnesota to leading the NFL in both receptions and receiving yards in his first season in Buffalo. Diggs led all NFL receivers in 2020 with 127 receptions and 1,535 receiving yards. He signed a $96 million extension. Then he was traded again, this time to Houston, where his ACL tore 8 games into his only season as a Texan. He came back from that injury, signed with the Patriots for $69 million, posted a 1,000-yard season, went to the Super Bowl, and then was released for salary cap reasons. Now he's dealing with criminal charges he says are false. A defamation lawsuit he filed that has spiraled into a countersuit, and a personal life that's been splashed across every tabloid and gossip outlet in the country. The four-time Pro Bowler has denied those allegations, but believes those claims have hurt his reputation, and it's hard to argue otherwise. The allegations haven't been proven in a court of law, but they've already cost him in the court of public opinion and the court of NFL front office decision-making. What Diggs does from here will define his legacy as much as anything he's done on the field. The talent is there. The production is there. The desire is clearly there. He posted that 20-slide Instagram carousel about gratitude, faith, and discipline before scrubbing his entire account. Several slides focused on gratitude, faith, discipline, and staying focused during hard times. The caption emphasized controlling what you can and remaining thankful. He knows the situation he's in. He knows the world is watching, and he's choosing to let his next move speak for itself. Whether that next move comes in Minnesota, Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, Green Bay, Indianapolis, or somewhere nobody has predicted yet. When Diggs does sign, it will be the biggest story in the NFL that week. And if he walks onto a field and does what he did last year, every team that passed on him will have to answer for it. That's the bombshell Stefon Diggs is sitting on. Not a press conference, not a public tirade, just the quiet, uncomfortable truth that one of the best receivers in the NFL is available, and nobody has made the call yet. The league has been warned.